In a previous lecture, we discussed the importance of stating the purpose of our instruction. Students are more likely to engage in a lesson if they understand why they are doing the work we've designed for them. But once we've articulated an instructional purpose, then we must consider how we will help our students meet that purpose, and how will we know that they've met that purpose. The answer to this question lies in the concept of alignment. One of the reasons we state our instructional purposes in observable verbs is so that we can ensure alignment with instructional activities and assessments. Alignment exists when the elements of instruction, purpose, activities, and assessments are designed and planned to correspond with each other. All three instructional elements invoke or engage the same thinking skills or behaviors. For instance, let's look at an example of a lesson in which students should learn how to use apostrophes in possessive nouns. If the goal is for students to use apostrophes correctly in possessive nouns, then the activities would include students' practice using the apostrophes in possessive nouns. And the assessment would also involve students' composition of sentences or composition of paragraphs in which they would use apostrophes in possessive nouns. If, for instance, the instructional activity had students pointing out correctly written possessive nouns and incorrectly written possessive nouns, then the alignment would not exist, because during that activity, students would not actually be using the apostrophes, they would just be pointing out errors. The purpose sets the goal. The activities provide the work toward the goal, and the assessment provides the evidence that the goal has been achieved. As another example, if we write an objective that says that students will be able to diagram a declarative sentence, then during that lesson, what should the students be doing during the activities? And during the assessment, what should the students be doing in that instrument? Did you answer diagramming declarative sentences? If so, you would be correct. In all three of those elements, students have to be diagramming the declarative sentences. Alignment helps teachers keep the class focused and motivated. You often hear students ask, why do we need to do this? Or what's the point of this activity? With alignment, the purpose is clearly stated, so students learn the point of an activity from its outset. Alignment communicates to the students not only what they will do, but why they do it and how they can show the mastery of the skill. The concept of alignment is not complicated, but sometimes alignment can get overlooked, especially if we have a particular affinity for a genre of writing or a specific work of literature or a certain instructional strategy. We might get caught up in how much we enjoy the teaching and learning activities that we might lose sight of whether the activity actually enables students to practice the skills they need to practice. Here's an example. Candace, who teaches 8th grade English language arts, is especially fond of grammar, and she's very good at explaining grammatical concepts in ways that students can understand them. Candace has also been assigned a computer classroom, so she has designed a set of grammar games that incorporate a bit of competition into the instruction. As they play the games, students identify and correct errors in isolated sentences. The games include activities such as selecting the correct verb or pronoun, selecting the correctly punctuated sentence, or identifying a group of words as a phrase or a clause. Students love the games and they progress through the different levels, earning badges which apply to quiz grades. But when Candace gives students a writing assignment later in the term, she's disappointed to discover that her students still demonstrate language errors, such as writing passages that say, "When me and my cousin went to Indiana," or "There was still snow on the ground in March." Candace had been so excited about her students' engagement with the technology and the competition that she overlooked the alignment in her instruction. The objective of the grammar instruction was to help students use those concepts in their writing, but the games didn't include writing practice. They only included identification and recall. Therefore, the activities, the games themselves, were not aligned with the objective, which was to use standard English in writing, and the assessment, the writing assignment, as a result showed that the objective had not been met. A more significant result of this misalignment is that when students receive their papers or their test scores and notice lukewarm to low grades, they could become frustrated with the learning process and possibly conclude that learning activities are useless or that they're not capable of success. That's where backward design is helpful. If you ask yourself 3 questions, your answers will help you determine whether instruction is aligned. You should start with your purpose. What do I want students to know how to do? Once you've determined your purpose, you should ask yourself what measurements will reveal whether they have met the objective. That's your assessment. And then you determine what practices do the students need to help them succeed on that assessment. And that should be your activity. And a lot of times you might need multiple activities to give students sufficient practice in order to meet that goal. If a teacher's instruction is aligned, then students stand a stronger chance of meeting the learning objectives. That means a stronger chance for success for them and for the teacher.